Sorrento, spelled with double R, is a picturesque town in Italy, just by the Mediterranean shore. Sorrento, spelled with a single R, is a village in Bond County, Illinois, in the land of freedom and big cars. Apparently, one Esther Snyder, co-founder of In-N-Out Burger, comes from that Sorrento.
Sorrento is also Kia's largest European model and the largest SUV in the Korean manufacturer's lineup. I wonder whether Kia picked the car's name based on Italian scenery or American cheeseburger.
Originally out in 2002, the Sorrento is now in its third generation. The first generation was butt ugly, but it was also built on a ladder frame chassis, which is something off-road fans long for. That's because from second generation onwards, the Sorrento has a unibody design, like most SUVs these days. Gone is also the transfer case. As a result, the Sorrento is no longer good for off-roading, but it lost more than 200 kilograms, which translates into better fuel economy and better ride on tarmac, where these cars spend most of their lives anyway. Third generation wasn't on a weight loss diet, but it grew in size. Both wheelbase and overall length increased by some 8 centimeters. Under the hood, throughout most of Europe, you get a 2.2 diesel, front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, manual or automatic transmission. As of second generation, you could pick your Sorrento as a 5 or 7-seater. In some markets, Kia decided to sell the third generation as a 7-seater only, so if you want a bigger boot, check with your local dealer.
Top spec models come with Kia Smart Tailgate technology, which recognizes when I approach, so there is no swiping with the foot underneath the car, and yeah, it opens. It's very convenient unless you're parked in a tight spot and you don't want this thing to open. And once I close the tailgate, that's it. It doesn't do anything else. I have to walk away, walk maybe 10-20 steps away, and then approach it again. So it's so-so.
With 5 seats in place, you get 605 liters boot space, fold the second row away, and this increases to 1662 liters. With 7 seats up, there is just 142 liters, but you still get place to stow the boot cover, something many car manufacturers should learn from Kia. Seats in the second row slide, so there should be no problem with legroom in the third row, even if you're 175 centimeters tall like myself. But despite low sitting position, I'm still touching the ceiling. On the plus side, people in the third row get air conditioning as well.
There is plenty of room here in the back, especially if you don't use the third row of seats, but if you do, you can slide these forward and there's still some leg room left. There is also good headroom, even in the middle seat. The floor is completely flat, by the way, so I can sit here comfortably and still have some headroom left. There are air vents, there is a 12-volt socket, a USB port, there is a place for a small bottle in the door bins, there are these blinds, you even get heated back seats. But speaking of these seats, there are only 2 ISOFIX mounts. Not a third one here, no ISOFIXes in the back. I thought this was supposed to be a family car.
Getting in and out is a clean affair because doors cover the sills. The car is low enough for me to step inside, rather than climb.
Also, the cockpit is spacious, there is a lot of storage, everything is in its place, it's easy to reach, the buttons are big, the sat-nav is legible. Now, this example comes with not just heated but also ventilated seats. Glove box is average size, but storage under the armrest is pretty big. There are a couple of cup holders here in the middle on the center console, and a bottle of water will fit in the door bins. So no time to lose, let's take this baby on the road. In top spec models, you get something called Kia Supervision Cluster, which is virtual instrument panel, the speedo, and whatever's in the middle. That's virtual, and the rev counter, the water temperature gauge and the fuel gauge, they're still analog. So as you can imagine, it's not as fancy as your Audi virtual cockpit, but probably one day everyone's going to offer something of that sort. As I mentioned earlier, throughout most of Europe, Sorrento comes with a 2.2-liter diesel. However, in Poland, for tax purposes, there's also a 180 horsepower 2-liter diesel. Not because it's cleaner, but because some idiot in the Ministry of Doing Nothing all day decided that anything above 2 liters is a luxury, and the luxury commands higher excise duty. The 2-liter power plant is good enough, but on motorway journeys you'd probably be better off with a larger engine, which will probably be more economical. Regardless of which engine you choose, the Sorrento is hardly sporty. It's your school run shopping pottery class routine sort of car. These seats may look like they're sporty and offer good lateral support, but no, they don't. And I'm a big guy, and I still float in them. So if you're any thinner, skinnier, you're not going to enjoy these. On the motorway, there's a fair bit of wind noise, and in case of the 2-liter diesel, it uses 9 liters per 100 kilometers in the combined cycle instead of the claimed 7. Bearing in mind the recent Volkswagen scandal, I could tell you just as well this car uses no fuel whatsoever, right? I think it's time to make these tests a bit more realistic, don't you think? The Sorrento is sort of like a tank to drive. It takes a while, but once you get it up to your cruising speed, it just goes. And it's not the most exciting car to drive. Also, I don't suppose it will get up there where I used to take the first generation. Off-roading one-on-one, lesson 835. When off-roading, always do so in 2 or 3 cars. Preferably one of them has to have some sort of off-roading capabilities to get you out of a simple sand trap. Second of all, you may need some tools, which we don't really have except for this jack. You may also want to have these long pieces of whatever which help you get out of sand traps. And yeah, see you in an hour. Kia Sorento can be equipped with some basic safety systems like blind spot monitoring or lane assist, which lane assist doesn't seem to work for reasons which remain obscure to me, but that doesn't matter because both of these systems are great on the motorway but not so great on B-roads or around town. They just make too much noise. What I do like is the cross-traffic monitoring system. When reversing, I get a warning that something is coming and I have to brake, otherwise there's going to be a crash. You can also specify the Sorrento with a 360 round view camera system. This one just comes with a basic reversing camera, and the Sorrento is actually surprisingly easy to maneuver for its size. The new Kia Sorento is not bad looking for a large SUV, and starting at 35 grand it slots in nicely between the larger end of the compact crossover segment cars like Mitsubishi Outlander or Nissan X-Trail, and the luxury SUVs like Land Rover Discovery Sport. If you have a lot of small kids, look for a minivan, but if your children are big enough to travel without child seats, the Sorento is an interesting proposition. And what would you choose as your perfect family car? Would it be a minivan or a large SUV? Let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, rate and share my videos. New episodes every Friday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.